What is an unusual thing you do to wow investors?
Be myself. I think
You put on
best you can
Beyonce,
do.
right? You put on
I put
Power.
on before I go in, I put on Beyonce. So I have a little bit of the Beyonce vibe, hopefully, to it. You do have to be confident, and being yourself really helps, but the Beyonce vibe gives the extra confidence.
That's Linda Klunder, co-founder of Kumasi Drinks, a delicious tropical cocoa fruit juice made from the flesh surrounding a cocoa bean. That's right, a cocoa bean. Previously, the outside of the cocoa bean was never used. It was just thrown away, but Linda and the team at Kumasi, they took something that normally goes to waste and made it into a soft drink while also helping cocoa farmers earn a little extra cash. In this episode, we learned the origin story of Kumasi Drinks, tips on grant writing since Linda mostly oversees the financial side of things over there at Kumasi, and what it's like setting up operations on the Ivory Coast. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode as you listen. You can find me on LinkedIn at Eric Melkor. Tag me, say hello, let me know that you're listening. And now, let's talk with Linda. All right, Linda, this is Beyonce. Energy is the name of the song. And I gotta say, I had never heard this song before. As I told you, I'm listening to Baby Shark and things like that. So this is one of your favorite songs recently?
Definitely. Yeah. So I'm really happy I introduced you to it. It brought me a lot of energy and fun for the past couple of years while working on our startup. So I hope it's going to do the same for you while not taking care of the kids.
Do you get the music going in the background in the office for you and the team? You try to get them motivated and inspired. Do you play Beyonce in the background?
Yeah, we do. So we play music every day in the office. We play all kinds of music, but I think this Beyonce song is really for me when I'm like, I really do have to concentrate or I really have to rap a pitch deck and I really have to finalize something. I just put my AirPods in and I just start, I really put it very loud and then I just go, okay, energy. And sometimes I stand up, start dancing. So it really helps me to come in the right vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I work out, I've got a playlist. That's when I listen to my music. I think I will add this song to my workout playlist. It does get the body
Cool.
moving, the energy flowing. All right. Well, the first question that I have for you is, and this is something you thought I should ask you, should we stop eating chocolate? What is your
Yeah.
take on this, Linda?
So definitely not. But what you recently have been seeing is that there is a movement going towards artificial chocolate. So quite a lot of research is going into ways to create chocolate without cocoa. And there are a few reasons to think that's a great idea. Environmental impact of cocoa is quite large with deforestation being a major driver of a negative environmental impact of the chocolate industry,
Right?
but also the fact that there are a lot of human rights issues within chocolate. So you see this movement going on that researchers are trying to find ways to create chocolate without the actual component, the core component, cocoa beans.
Yeah.
But I think we just really have to focus on doing technology and technological innovations where these problems are happening without taking away the people who need the extra income or the technological innovations the most, the people who are making our food. But I was seeing this competition this morning on LinkedIn, and I really thought it's just not the right thing to do, to cut out the people who are making the food and then try of innovative technological solutions to still be able to eat what we want, but without the current negative effects. I don't think it's eco-friendly when it's
Yeah.
only better for the environment, but we're neglecting the people making it. So
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I'd
it's an
love to hear
interesting
more about
movement.
this because I know this impacts you personally as the founder of Kumasi Drinks, and I know a lot of it has to do with chocolate and the tropical
Yeah.
fruit. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about your background. So I know you're from the Netherlands, but I think you speak Arabic. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how did that happen?
So before going into West Africa and chocolate, I studied international relations and Arabic in Groningen, which is in the north of the Netherlands. And I just fell in love with the language and lived in Egypt for quite a while. So my Arabic isn't what it used to be, but I've spent a lot of my time on learning the letters, reading it, talking. So it's really one of my biggest passions.
All right. Do you still get to practice it with anybody over there in the Netherlands?
Currently, not too much. I'm focusing more on French, but I am for work quite a lot in Ivory Coast, and you have a lot of Lebanese in Ivory Coast. So I was there just last week, and I tried to order my kefta in Arabic still when I'm in Ivory Coast. So try to practice a little bit.
Okay. No, no, that's great. That's great. I love chatting with people that are trying to learn a language. Obviously, you said you did Arabic. Now you're learning French. I try to learn Romanian. Right now, I
Nice.
am trying to learn Romanian. So it's
Oh,
always cool. I think it keeps the mind and the brain like just, it prevents it from like decaying. That's just my
yeah.
personal opinion.
And I think when you're living or studying or working in a country, you do have to take the efforts to try to communicate
Oh, yeah,
with the people in their mother tongue.
absolutely.
So the Romanian is really cool. One of our interns, Shaban, he's Romanian. But
Okay.
it always sounds when he's working and something doesn't work out, he starts to swear in Romanian, and it sounds really funny. It
Isn't
sounds
it
really
funny
funny.
when people swear, they always go back to their native tongue,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. Yeah, it's true. It goes to very deep emotions.
Yeah, I think I've only sworn one time in like the past 5 years, and it was with this other driver here in Bucharest. And of course, I swore in English. And I could tell by the look on his face that he was shocked because he didn't expect that. And then it took him a couple of seconds for him to like respond.
And in
Okay.
English, of course, most people understand it. When it's another language, it could have been anything. You could have said,
Yeah.
"Oh, what a beautiful tree," but
Yeah.
really, that's not what you're saying. But in English, everybody
Yeah. No,
understands. Yeah,
he understood it, but he just didn't know
yeah,
I was an English speaking driver. I think he
yeah.
thought I was another Romanian driver. So it just took him a couple of seconds to like get his grasp. Okay. All right. So listen, I was reading about Kumasi Drinks. This sounds really, really interesting because it's a different approach, a different perspective. And so cocoa beans, you're saying that a lot of people tend to throw out the pulp and nobody's using that. But what you're saying is that you can actually use the pulp, and you are using the pulp to create these tropical drinks, and I think they taste like pear. So, how did this? What was the inspiration for this? What was the opportunity, the light bulb moment that said, "Hey, there's an opportunity here to help the farmers, but then also to bring something new to the market"?
Yeah, so my co-founder, Lars Schierveld, he was making a documentary about cocoa with the question, why are cocoa farmers still living in poverty? And while making this documentary, he tasted the pulp of the cocoa fruit for the first time. So he was sitting on a farm and some farmers, they offered him the pulp. So when you have a cocoa fruit, it's like a rugby ball and it has beans in it and also pulp. And yeah, we just as a consumer never taste the pulp, but he was offered that pulp by a farmer just
Uh-huh.
as a snack, and he tasted the pulp. It was like, this is so delicious. It's like a combination of lychee, mango, lime. Why do I not know this flavor? And that
Yeah.
was really the start of Kumasi Drinks.
Okay. And so he came back here and he mentioned this to you, and he's like, "Hey, there's something that nobody knows about here. We could actually take this and produce it and bring it to market," or what happened?
Well, yeah, based fast forward, yeah, or that is around what happened. But I think it really started with indeed being amazed that this is there, and like, well, we're talking about food waste. We're always talking about poverty in cocoa supply chains. It's amazing that nothing has been happening with this pulp, and starting from that amazement, we came together and we're like, okay, let's do something with this and start fighting food loss and income loss at the same time by letting people know that this is a delicious fruit as well.
Now, distribution, when it comes to retail, can be one of the toughest things. How did you guys get this thing on the market in shelves in various retail locations over there in the Netherlands? What was your approach to this?
So first of all, our team, we're three founders. So we have Lars, who's really is the storyteller and like the founder. Then I do the impact and the finance, and then we have Roger Power, that is his surname, who
Okay.
does the sales. So Mr. Power goes out to all these sales locations. And first of all, when that's your surname,
Yeah.
that's the best way to have an entrance at
Oh yeah.
distribution.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say, I'm Mr. Power. I would actually take my time, and when
Yeah.
somebody asks me, "What is your name?" Power. You
Yeah.
say it a little bit slower, maybe even a little bit
Make sure
deeper.
they understand that it's truly power and power like power. No, that's what
Yeah.
he does. That is what he does. So what we basically did is that in 2020, The documentary that Lars was making was on television, on Dutch television. So it was broadcasted on television, and that was literally the kickoff of our company.
Okay.
And that really helped in getting attention because people were able to see it on television. They were amazed about the story as well, and people started to approach us. So I think the first year we were just really market testing based on sending out our bottles to consumers, getting their feedback in, and improving the recipe. So the first year we didn't really reach out to restaurants or distributors. We just had to test our product.
Mm-hmm.
How do you market such a new product? You have to understand why people like it. Do people like it? Why do they like it? What do they like about it? And how can we improve it? So that
Yeah.
was the first year focus.
When people drink it
And
now, what do they like about it? When people drink it,
the tropical surprise.
like
So
different
we
flavors, like is there anything comparable to it?
No, well, no, really. What we hear most is that it's like lychee kind of taste,
Yeah.
lychee lime. But the
Okay.
fun thing is we really put on our bottles like quite large cocoa fruits for soft drink.
Okay.
So already the engagement with our bottles or with our cans is fun.
Yeah.
You look at it, it's very colorful. Yeah, you've seen our website, it's very colorful.
Yeah.
So you see it, then you see cocoa fruit, they're like, huh? Wait, what? That's how it starts. So the
Who came
first
up with the name Kumasi?
we decided to name the company Kumasi because it's the city where we started. So it's the second largest city in Ghana.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
it's really a tribute to where cocoa comes from.
And the branding of the packaging of the bottle and Kumasi, did you guys work with an agency or did you guys put that together?
Yeah, no, we definitely work with an agency, Friends for Brands, especially also our creative director with whom we worked there was Bart. And he gave us basically two options. You either go minimalistic,
Okay.
which was quite trendy at that time, 3 years ago when we started, or you go full out African funk style. And that's what we went for. Like when he presented it, it was that we were immediately blown away by the look and feel of it.
Yeah, no, it definitely pops out. So for anybody
Yeah.
listening here, you can check out the website and we'll have images of the product on the website, of course, with links to the website. Now, you said there's three founders. One of them is a storyteller.
Yeah.
And I think you said one is like the sales, Mr. Power,
Yeah.
right? Right. And then you're more like in the investment side. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what does your
Yeah.
day-to-day look like, Linda?
Oh, yeah. So I do impact and investment,
Okay.
which is an interesting combination because at the one side, I want to spend money on the people with whom we work. And on the other side, I have to earn money so we can keep on working.
Yeah.
My day to day is very focused on the financials. So that means having investor conversations, making new pitch decks for upcoming funding rounds, and working on our cash flow and paying our bills.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I work on our impact reporting. So we do biannually, we do a impact survey, and we use these inputs to also come up with new impact ideas. And currently, I'm, for instance, working on something that we call Kumasi Connects, which means that we want to start producing juice with local communities as well.
Okay.
So it's a very diverse job. We do,
Yeah.
basically everything, of course.
Yeah. Do you primarily focus investment funds that are focused on sustainability or impact? Is that like 100% of your attention pretty much?
Yeah, it's a combination of grants. So we have it's grants, debt funding, and impacts investors. I think most of my attention goes to creating the network within the impact investor scene,
Okay.
and then writing grants at the same time. So they're very different approaches, and they need very different types of attention. But currently, building the right network within the impact investment scene takes quite a lot of my time.
Yeah.
And the writing of grants is just very time consuming. So that's more
Yeah.
sitting behind your laptop, looking for the right grants and writing them actually.
Oh, yeah.
Where getting into the investment network is more going to drinks, bringing your Kumasi and talking to all kinds of people. So it's quite a nice balance, like working at daytime on your grant proposals, and in the evening,
Yeah.
just with your Kumasi bottles, go to drinks and let people taste it because
Yeah.
it improves the budding.
Oh man, I sucked at grant writing. I used to run a nonprofit back in Houston. And so I submitted so many grants And I think my success rate was something like, oh, it was awful. Maybe like 4 or 5% of the grants that I submitted actually, I got something for it. What is, I have no idea. Like, do you want to share like what your success rate is more or less?
That's a good question. So I think when it comes to grant writing, what I try what I try to do is first get the personal contact at the grant that you're writing for. Then you get a feeling on the possible success. And when they've already said no way you're gonna get it, just don't start.
Okay.
Don't even start because
Yeah.
then it's too much time.
Yeah.
Overall, for the bigger grants that take a lot of time, I first do sort of my own due diligence, reach out to them, and that really increases the success rate.
Yeah.
Amazing because you just know if it's going to be successful or not.
Yeah.
We have some smaller grants, and there is, I think, hopefully 1 out of 5 that you would get in.
Okay.
But then we're talking about the smaller grants that might take a little bit less of our time.
Yeah.
But for the big grants, first focus personal relationships and get a feeling if it's going to be successful. Otherwise, indeed, if you do not do that, 1 out of 10
Yeah.
is probably what you can expect to get
Yeah.
out of it.
See, that was my mistake. I didn't reach out to try to get to know the person beforehand, so I spent so many hours, researching and putting together a grant and submitting it. So that was my mistake. So for anybody listening that does any sort of grant writing, you heard it from Linda. It pays to actually connect with the person first, get to know them, because when you do meet somebody face to face, you just have like that sort of instinct whether or not that they're open to this or you should even move forward with submitting your grant. You just kind of get that feeling, right, Linda?
Yeah, exactly. And it does not always work. Some grants are very closed off and they just say submit it. And then it's really up to you. Read the website really well, really try to understand, do we fit? And yeah, you only submit it when you really can find a clear fit. Otherwise, it's just time lost.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what investors look for when you're submitting like a pitch deck. Obviously, they want to know about the potential growth and revenue and things like that, but is there anything else that they're looking for considering that this is more of an impact type business?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it really depends on the phase. So during our previous round, it was really a seed round, and I think it's all about team, team, team. There's not much sales that you can show yet. It's really about what do you want to, which story do you want to convey, and with whom are you doing it. So we had our plans, but we all know forecasts. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
You make forecasts, you do your best to write a very sound business proposal, but in the end, I think it's all about the people that you have on board. And investors have to trust that you guys are going to put all the efforts and work into it and have the right capacities and capabilities within the team to make it work. Because you are not going to have loads of funds. You're not going to have loads of marketing budgets to make it work. It's going to be the three of you that people are investing in our case. And I think that's the bottom line. Present your team very well. Make sure everybody of your team is also present during important meetings. So you convey the message, hey, this is us. We're doing this together. And I think that's really, especially in that seat and maybe even a little bit afterwards, that's mainly what investors are looking for. Do they trust the people who are behind the business?
Yeah. Your team, how long have you guys known each other? Where did you meet?
So Lars and Roger, they've known each other for years. They have been friends. They were roommates before, so they go way back. I am a little bit the newbie in this triangle. So I met Lars while I was doing my master's at Wageningen University. And we met at a cocoa panel. And yeah, we immediately hit it off. We had very interesting discussions. And based on that connection, I think within 9 months, Lars said, hey, maybe shall we start this together and see what we can make out of this delicious pulp? So it was really personal connection that made us three come together.
Okay. So where is the product at currently? Like approximate number of retail locations? Can you share any information about that?
Definitely. So first year was that market testing. Then quickly we reached out to restaurants. So the second year we really focused on getting our product in restaurants. And we're around 300, 350 locations currently selling our product. But based on that, we were able to attract the attention of the big retail in the Netherlands. So currently we are having all these restaurants and horeca locations, but we're also in around 800 retail locations. So we're in the Albert Heijn, which is the biggest retailer in the Netherlands, but also the HEMA, which is very, very known here in the Netherlands and also abroad. So our distribution currently looks like 40% of our revenue comes via restaurants and a little bit of Christmas packages, for instance.
Yeah.
And then 60% is big retail currently.
All right. Interesting. Interesting. So what are you guys excited about in the next 12 months? What's cooking?
Ooh, so many things. So we are really excited about looking into new possible products with cocoa fruit. So the pulp we just got started with what you can do with cocoa. We have our Kumasi Soppy, which is non-carbonated, and Kumasi Gassi, which is a carbonated soft drink. But these are just the first two products with cocoa that we want to focus on in the future. So we really want to get the consumer known with the whole potential of the cocoa fruit.
Okay.
And we'll work on launching very cool, funky products with that tropical taste.
Okay. Also curious about logistics. So you have these farmers that are producing this. And how does that work? I mean, do they put the pulp like in plastic bags and then you have people that go and collect these bags and then they're shipped over there to the Netherlands and you guys do the packaging there? What does this look like?
Yeah, logistics is a nightmare. So we have luckily we have currently a supplier that we work with, which is called Koa, who takes the logistics side out of our hands. So the farmers we work with, they are connected to the factory that's called Koa, and they are a cocoa juice producer, and we buy the juice then from them, knowing where it comes from, but we buy the juice produced from them, and then we make our product. So we are basically now really focusing on making cocoa juice known and putting our products on the market, and they help us with taking all of the logistic part out of our hands. Cocoa juice it's so new, it demands a lot of investments on farm side, which we love. That's where we think that the investment should go, and not to artificial chocolate, as said in the beginning. But we sort of split it like this. We work on consumer awareness and really getting the name out there, and they really work on getting a sound, safe, stable products in Ghana. So
Yeah.
and I think that's great. You really have to collaborate if you want to change things
Yeah,
in our world. Yeah.
absolutely. What about go to market? You guys do any sort of marketing or promotions? Are you spending money on any sort of advertising?
We do. Yeah, I think next to people, marketing is the biggest chunk of our budget.
Right.
So marketing is just being in such a competitive market landscape,
Yep.
competing with other soft drinks, you do have to invest in marketing. So quite a lot of our budgets go into marketing, which is at the one side being present at events, developing good marketing strategies, but also developing especially our branding and building upon that branding with marketing outings on social media,
Yeah.
via other channels. So marketing is extremely important for the competitive landscape in which we are acting.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I got to tell you, I have a guilty pleasure, Linda. That guilty pleasure is most nights, my wife and I, after the kids go to bed and after we told them they can't have any candy, we actually get some chocolate and we have a piece of chocolate as we watch something on, Netflix or whatever. So that is
A
my
piece or a bar?
usually a bar. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I love chocolate. I don't think I eat any artificial chocolate, but I may be wrong. Are there things that are artificial and maybe most people don't know? For example, I love peanut M&Ms and I love chocolate bars that usually have like almonds in them. But when I get this from the store, I'm assuming that it's all natural, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, currently everything is like natural in the sense that there is going to be a component of cocoa in it, either cocoa butter, but there will be a component of cocoa in it. But then a new movement is going on where people are looking into if it's possible to make cocoa chocolate products without putting cocoa in it. But it's not really on the market yet.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Let's jump to our rapid fire question here segment. So I'm going to ask you quick questions. Just give me the first answer that pops into your head. You ready?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
$25,000 cash or dinner with Richard Branson. What is it, Linda?
Ooh, $25,000 cash.
Okay.
Now,
All right. What's a favorite? Now, what's a favorite TV show you can watch again and again?
Indian matchmaker.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I've never heard of the show, but I can understand. For a while, my wife and I loved this reality show called 90 Day Fiance, and we used to watch
It's
that.
like that. It's a little bit like that. It's really fun, and I could.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh
don't have to
yeah.
think about anything. Sit on the couch. Yeah,
It's even more fun when you're on Twitter and watching it at the same time and seeing like
I can imagine. Definitely.
Okay, the most interesting thing you did in the last 26 days.
I went to Ivory Coast and went on a night field trip there, which wasn't a great idea.
No, what happened?
We thought we could go to one of the cooperatives after 7 because our program just got delayed a little bit. And we said, well, it's fine. We can go. It's 7. It's already really dark in Ivory Coast. It's only an hour drive. But obviously, an hour in Ivory Coast becomes 2.5 hours. And after 2.5 hours, it was still 10 minutes, the driver said. But it was already has been 10 minutes for 1.5 hours. So it was like, no. We just turned around. It was a nice try, but when you think it's never gonna be an hour, it is never going to be an hour. So, but it was fun, and it was a really interesting experience.
Okay. What is an unusual thing you do to wow investors?
Be myself. I think
You put on
that's just
Beyonce, right? You put on
I put
Power.
on before I go in. I put on Beyonce, so I have a little bit of the Beyonce vibe, hopefully, to it. You do have to be confident, and being yourself really helps. But the Beyonce vibe gives the extra confidence.
Cool, cool. Last question for
Definitely.
you. Every Friday, your team does blank to build camaraderie in the workplace.
Drink Kumasi with gin.
Oh, which is. So it does go well with alcoholic beverages.
It goes amazing with alcohol.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you'll be watching us for hopefully the couple 12 months, and maybe something with alcohol and Kumasi might come out.
All right. There you have it, folks. Kamasi. It's not just a health drink. It's
No.
also a social drink that you can add gin and maybe some other liquor to it. Linda, thank you so much for coming on Innovators Can Laugh.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. Everybody listening, until next week, we'll have another Dutch entrepreneur, startup founder on the show. This is Eric signing off. I had a great time chatting with Linda. She's filled with enthusiasm and adventure and shared some valuable tips when it comes to seeking funding. If you want to learn more about Linda, go to kumasi-drinks.com. Links to all of this are in the show notes. Thank you to Linda for being on the show. If you like this episode, send me a note on LinkedIn and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Cheers.